Hello guys and welcome back to Kids Coding Playground. I haven't done a video in a while. Going to do this one video regarding lists. So we have a subscriber who asked us a question regarding lists after watching our first video on lists. And it has some question regarding how to find duplicate items between the two lists. As you can see, it mentioned here like the first list having some number and the second list having some number, and we're trying to find out what are the duplicates between the two lists. So I will show you guys how to do that today. I mean, there might be there's a couple way to do it, but I will show you some easier way to do it. Okay, so what are we going to learn today? We'll learn the following concept: custom block, loops, index, and different type of list blocks. And for example, we have a list like this. We have a two list. The user enter 12, 14, 6, 4, 11, and then second list 13, 43, 34, 6, and 21. As a human, we can really easy to see that 6 and 6 is duplicate, right? But we have to understand how we can make the the computer to see that. So we will have to go through the list, find the duplicate. So we'll show you how to do that in this scratch video. All right, so let me just run the video once for you. Run the example. So let's say we play this. Let me make this bigger. So let's say we play we start this. So what we have to do is we have to click on this sprite here. So we'll click on her. She'll enter a first list of items separated by comma. So we can enter, let's say, I will say my example. We enter 12, comma 14, comma 6, 4, 11. Okay, and then we ask for a second set of number. So what we can do is, let me open up the list object so you can see. Okay, let's go back to variable here. We'll open up the list. Okay, these are the two lists that we have. Okay, all right, let's go back in here. So we have to enter the second sets of number. So right, let's paste it here. So we have 13, 43, 34, 6, and 21. So as you can see, there's one or more duplicate value in the two lists, and the number is 6. So as you can see, it finds the number 6 between these two lists. So it doesn't matter, it could be more, right? We could have a 6 number here and 3 number here, doesn't matter, it will still find it. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so there's a couple of ways actually to do it. You can do it either breaking up the item. I actually have two methods to do that, to break up the item. If you want more information, you can go to our YouTube channel and go to about, and then go to the actual our account and see. So there's two ways to break the item. I have a break the item, the first version of it, and then another version of it. So there's a couple ways that you could break your item. So I'll show you the one version. If you want more information on how to do it, like two different versions, then you have to go to our account. And there's also a couple of ways that you could break the you have to find the duplicates. You can have duplicate you can find by this or this. So you can loop through it using two loops, or you can use the first loop, and then you can do a contains items also. So these will two work. So I'll just show you one way. If you want more information how to do that, you can look at that. So we'll just start a new project. Okay. Okay, so I have some sprite array loaded in my background, so making things a little faster. So I'm gonna drag this into here. So let me delete so I have this. I don't need the cat. I'll delete the cat. So I have the this, and then I have the Giga. So I'll put Giga in the front, so Giga gonna stand up on the wooden stool here. I just created that for her. Okay, all right, so how do we do this? So all right, okay, so first we'll make a list block. So let's make a list block. We'll call it list 1, which is the first list, and we'll make another one called list 2, which is the second list. So as you can see, we have two lists here. Okay, so far. So now let's go to this set up the sprite. So for this Giga, so we have to go to event start. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we'll start, and then what we do is we're gonna go to front layer. For now, I think she's already in the front layer, but if not, you can. So you can say go to front layer, and then we're gonna delete the list. So we'll clear up the list. So every time the game start, we'll delete the list. It's not really a game, it's probably more of a list concept. So, and then we are going to make one more actually temp list. So this we'll use it to find the duplicates later. So this is temporary list that we'll also use to break down the what user enter. So we'll have 3 lists for now. So we have a list 1, list 2, and a temp list. This is temporary list. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna make a when the sprite is clicked, we are going to do something. So let's go here. When the sprite is clicked, we'll clean this up just in case they didn't click on the start button, they just click on that. We also want to do that, and also we'll ask so enter first list of item separated by commas. Okay, we'll have the first ask, right? So as we know, right, the when they ask something, it always goes to the answer. So answer will have that whatever the user typed in. So what we need to do is let's say for now, let's look at this. So let's say we have say, and then we'll go answer. So we click on Giga show ask, right? So let's say we put some number here, right? So as you can see, the answer has these numbers, right? So we have the number. So what we have to do, we're gonna have to break it up and put them in the list. So that's the little bit tricky part. I think that's the hardest part. And then the other part is just finding the duplicate. So let's do that. So what we have to do is we are going to create a custom block for this. Okay. All right. So we'll go my block. Let's zoom out a little bit back out. We are going to say break list. So this is when the player type in the number, we're gonna break it apart. So you can say add the input, say list of items, okay, and then you can add another one, which list, meaning which list they wanna put this ender in. So we have this so far. So let me move this over here a little bit. So we have our define block here. Okay. And also we have to define some variable. All right. So we'll make some variable here. Index. So index is for basically checking, where the loop is going through. So we can use that. So we're gonna make another variable called word. It can be anything. I mean, number right now, but you can have word also. Basically, we're joining multiple numbers together. Let's say you have a number like 12, right? You have to actually put them together, right? So we'll use the word so that we could join later. And then we'll have to make one more variable called ready to add, meaning we have to know when we can add it to the list. So we'll hide all this for now. If you want, you can also show it to debug, right, to understand how it works. So let's go. So we'll say the index. So we'll set index to 1 since Scratch use index in the loop as 1. Other program they use 0. So Scratch we have to use 1. Next we'll set the word. So what we're going to do, we're going to just delete the 0, making it blank. Then next we will say ready to add. We'll say no, saying N, so not ready to add. And also we want to clean this list. So next time it could call multiple times. We want to make sure that this temporary list is clear. So now let's use a repeat until loop. So this repeat until loop is we're gonna loop through the whatever user typed in, and then we're gonna break it apart. So what we can do is we are going to use this index variable, and we also have to use the greater than sign. Okay, so we'll go to index. So right now the index is 1. We're gonna put we have to use some of these operator here. There's something called length of. So you can drag this item. So this will check how long the user typed in whatever they typed in, how long it is. We'll loop through that each letter at a time. Okay, and then we have to set we need another variable, actually one more. This will say current character. So this is the current character of the player, whatever player typed in that the loop is going to. We're going to pick up each character or number or whatever. For this case, we're using number. Okay, so we are going to say set. So we're going to set the current character to, okay, the letter of index, right? So this will be 1. So it will pick up, let's say we have a number 12, right? It will pick up the first number, which is 1. So we have to say list of item. So this is picking up the first number of whatever or whatever the user typed in. Okay, so we're gonna set that to the current character. Okay. Okay, so so since user type in, it could have spaces between the number and the comma, or they don't put spaces. So what we want to do, we want to take out those spaces. What you can do is you can use the control if here. Okay, let's zoom back out a little bit. So we say if operator. We are going to use the not operator here. Okay, and then we are going to use the equal, and then we're going to go to get the variable. So we're going to put a space, so type a space bar here. So basically if it's equal to the space, if it's not equal to the space, then what we want to do, we're going to add this to the list. So we are going to add this current character into the temporary list. So so as you can see, it is keep adding into 20,000, right? 200,000 here, because we did not increase the index, right? So it's keep going forever. So make sure we have to increase the index, right? So we have to say change, right? Change the index by 1, right? Every time it goes up by 1. So we'll stop. So and then what we want to do is also we want to add one more comma to the end of that list, so that later on when we break it up, it will be easier. I'll show you what I mean. So let's go over here. We'll add one more. Here. So we are going to check the index. Okay, we are going to check this index. If it's at the very end, so how do we know it's the very end? We have the length, right? We have the length of list, right? So whatever you type in, it will tell you what is at the very end. So if it's the index is equal to the length of list, meaning at the very end, what we're going to do is we are going to add a comma. So we're going to use this to break up the list later. So add the comma to the temporary list. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll zoom back out a little bit. So what we're going to do is we are going to test it out, right? So we're going to go to my block. We're going to put, so we're saying the list of items which is user typed in, and we put 1. So we'll put into the first list. But right now we haven't done anything with that. So for right now, just watch over here, right? See how this will work. So let's say we click on this sprite here, and we'll put in some numbers. Okay, 12, 14, 6, 4, 11. So when we do this, you can see that it breaks it up into 12, 14, 4, comma 11, and then extra comma at the end. That's where this comma comes from, extra comma then. So you can break it up. So you can see we break it into a temporary list, and then after that we are going to run a loop through this list and then pick up all the number that is divided by the comma, and then we're going to put it into this list. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so we already used the index, right? So we have to reset the index back to 1 because we have changed some number, right? We want to reuse a variable. So in order to reuse your variable, right, you have to make sure that you reset it. So we'll reset it back to 1. Oops, sorry. So we'll put this index back to 1 so that we could reuse this. Okay, now we are going to grab another for repeat until loop under here. What we're going to do is we are going to check the go through the loop again. So what we're going to do is we are going to say the index is greater than, if it's greater than the length of, so this is not the length of a word, this is the length of the list, so it'll tell you how many items are there. So let's say if I say length of temporary list here, you click on this, you see 13, so there's 13 elements in this list, right? So we'll loop through 13 times. So here it will loop through 13 times, and then what we can do is say if, and then we have to use this not operator, not, and then before that I missed something here. I need to get the characters, right? We need to, just like we did earlier, we're to pick up the character here. So same thing, above here we're using the character, the letter of the index of this, right? Here we are going to do a little bit different. We are going to use the index of the list. So here you will say item, okay, and then you put the index. So let's say 1, the one of this will be whatever 0. I mean it clears it out right now because of I accidentally ran the code, but whatever the number is, it will pick up the first number on that list, right? So let's say you have 11, so this will pick up 1, okay? So you have the current character. After that we are going to check, check this current character, okay? What we are going to do is not equal, we have say current character not equal to the comma. So where we adding the comma, right? So we put in the comma, we know how we divide the number, okay? If it's not equal to the comma, then we have to set this variable. What we're going to do is we're going to use this word called word. So basically we're going to join something together. So we will call this join. So the first time a join will put the word in. First time the word doesn't have anything, so that word is blank, right? We reset it to blank here up here. So as you can see, it won't have anything the first time it runs through. Okay, so and then we will join the current character. So it will be blank plus the whatever the current character, right? It will be 1, right? And then okay, I messed up a little bit. I should have used an if and else instead of if. So let me change that out right now. So this will go in here, this goes here. Let's throw this away, put this back in here. Okay, else. So the else part is we are going to say set another variable, so it's ready to add. So once we have added the number or not joining this not the comma, we know that okay, we have created that word and ready to add. So that means that the number is formed before we put into the to the list, okay? And then we have to have the if statement here. Okay, so we'll go back to here. So you should have to have the if statement, and what we're going to do is we're going to check this ready to add. So when it runs through multiple times, it can be different, right? So let's say you type the number 11. So when it pick up the first number 1, he will not put ready to add. It will try to go to the next number, which is 11, the next one. So it will combine it to become 11 before it adds. That's why you need this variable to check that. Okay, we will say if this variable ready to add is equal to y, right? And then we will also check which list we want to put it on. Since the user can have two lists, right? So we can use an if and else here. What we can do is we're gonna use the equal check again, and then we'll have to grab this which list from here. Okay. Okay, I hope you guys are following it so far. So I say, okay, which list one? So basically, if it's the first list, what we're going to do is we are going to add it to the list one. Okay, add things. Let's add things to list, right? You see that? So what we're going to do is we are going to add word. So where we formed that number, right? Whatever word, and else we'll put it into list 2. Okay. All right, because we only have 2 lists here. If it's not 1, it has to be 2. Okay, and then what we need to do, we have to reset the variable word. So every time once we add it, we need to reset the word back to blank. Okay, and also we need to reset the ready to add, right, to back to no. Okay, and this has to be underneath this else here. Okay. And one more thing, we have to increase the index of the loop, so it go to the next position. So we say index, not set, sorry, change index by 1. So we'll put it underneath here. Okay, so let's test this, see if it works correctly. If it works correctly, we'll break up the list. I'll put in this temporary list first, and then we'll push it into this list 1. Okay, let's click on her. It empties out everything. So as we're going to pick up the number. I already typed it up, and then I put it here, and it's not working. So when we do coding, there's always some error, right? So never works the first time. So that's why we have to debug. Okay, so as you can see, I made a mistake, right? Here, I used list 1 the item to getting the index of list 1. List 1 is always empty, right? So that's not correct. So this should be the temp list. Okay, now let's try it again. Okay, we'll click on her, and we'll get the number here. I have it on the side, and I put it in, and okay, so you can see it breaks up 12, 14, 6, 4, 11 into the list 1. So it breaks it up. You use the temporary list to go through whatever user typed in. It'll first put it onto this temporary list, then it will run another loop through here in the bottom, picking up each item here, separated by the comma. If it's not a comma, it'll add it together. So it'll picks it up. First one, it'll pick up the 1, then it'll pick up the 2, then he see a comma, he created the word, and he say ready to add, then he'll add 12 onto it. Then they'll go to the next one, 1, and then they pick up 1, and then pick up 4, and then add the word 4 here together, and then we'll put 14, and then it goes to a comma, go to the 6, and then 6 has nothing to be pick up, so he know that okay, that's just so it's not a comma. So 6, when it say it will join this. So join this, clear the word, right? Make sure we clear the word in the bottom, right? Once we clear, it will be blank. We'll join 6, and then it'll say ready to add. Else goes to the comma. It says, okay, ready to add, put a Y, and then it'll add it. So that's why we put an extra comma at the end here. If we don't do that, this ready to add, this will not get to the ready to add for Y. So the 11 will be missing. So let's say we didn't have this ready to add, right? We don't have that extra comma at the end. You'll see that would be a problem. So let's say I didn't have this, right? I took this piece out, right? And only had this here, right? You'll see that if I run this loop again, 11 will be missing. even though 11 will be here, it didn't have this comma, this one will not break it up correctly. So let's run this again. I'll copy the same number I had here, I post it here. So as you can see, even though I have 11, you see this, it's missing 11 here because of this extra comma. So that's why you need that extra comma here to fix that. Got it? Okay. All right, let's put it back in. Okay, let's try it again, make sure it works fine. And okay, so we got it correctly. So now we know how to break up the list. So we have the first list. Now we're gonna work on the second list, which is really easy. What we have to do is we have to call it one more time, right? So instead of list 2, list 1, we'll say list 2. So it will break the second list. Okay. All right. So let's try that. So let's click on her. We get our first list. Okay, enter. We've broke up all the lists. Let's say we've hit the second list. We'll put more. I'll add some more number on the side here. So okay, so we'll make it a little bit bigger. So we'll have 13, 43, 34, 6, 21, 82, 92. So if I hit this, so you can see 13, 43, 34, 6, 21, 82, 92, right? We'll break it all up. So now we have the two lists. So right now we have the two lists together. Now what we have to do is we have to find the duplicates, right? So as you can see, looking at this, you can see 6 is duplicated, all right? I mean, only 6 right now, but it could have more than one. So what we're going to do is we're gonna find the duplicate. Okay, so finding duplicate, we'll create a new block. We'll say find duplicate. Okay, so we don't really need any input for this one. We already have that, so we'll put it down here. Let's do that here. Okay, we are going to reuse some of our variable, our index and all, right, that we had. So we will have to reset it. So make sure if you have to reuse anything, you have to reset it. We'll reset it back to 1 since Scratch is always starts at 1 on the loop. For loops and indexes on the array and all that. Other program may be different. So, and then we have to have something, we'll have to make another variable. Is there duplicates? So we'll check if there's any duplicates. Okay, so we'll say no. That's in the beginning. No, there's no duplicates. And then we are going to reuse this temporary list to store what are the duplicates. So if we have to reuse anything, make sure you have to clean it up. So we have to say delete everything from temporary list. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a repeat loops again to repeat through the list, right? And then find out, you know, what are the duplicates. So first, we have to repeat whether you can pick either list. So we can just use list 1. We'll go with list 1, then list 2. It doesn't matter because we're trying to find something that's the same. Okay, so what we can do is here, we're gonna use this greater than again, and we are putting the index. Where's the index? Index is here. We don't need to, we can hide this. But if you are running into any trouble, right, while you're doing coding, make sure you open all this up so that you can see how things are. Okay. And then you will say the length of the list 1. So we're going through the first list. And we have to get the item on the list. So how do we get the item? Same thing, right? We have done that earlier. This is how we get item on the list, right? Oops. I didn't want to do all that. I just wanted that piece of code. So what we can make a new variable, or we can reuse this. Let's make a new variable to a little bit more easier. We'll say current item in list. How about that? Okay. So this is the current item in the list. So we'll say current item in the list. So we'll pick up the item in this list 1. So make sure we have the list 1. So we're going through the loop in the list 1. Make sure we're picking the item on the list 1. So we'll pick the first item on list 1, which is number 12 here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we have this item, which is 12. We want to see if 12 is actually in list 2. So what we can do is we don't actually need to run another loop. You can to do that, but there's an easier way actually. In the list, it'll provide something called contain. So we're gonna use that. Let me see if I can find right here. Okay, so we will be using this. What we can do is we're gonna use the if block here. Okay, we are saying if list 2, okay, we're looking at the list 1, we pick up number 12, we want to see number 12 is in list 2 or not. So we say if list 2 contain, okay, we'll go back to here, contain the current item, right, item which is 12. If list 2 contain 12, if it is, then what we want to do is set is there duplicate? Yes, there is duplicate. So you can say duplicate, and then what we can do is we are going to add this to the temporary list, and then we are going to add this item into temporary list. So we are going to add it to the temporary list to store. So if 12 is here, we'll add it here. Since 12 is not here, we'll not add it here. If it's 6 is here, yeah, 6 is here, we'll add it here. So as you can see, I'll show you later. Okay, so we'll add it to this and make sure that we have to increase the index all the time. If you don't, the loop will run forever, right? You don't want to do that. So you say change the index by 1. So you have to put it after this block here. And then once it's done, all this is done, what you can do is you can broadcast a message, or you can just display here or broadcast a message as a maybe saying display output. So this will display output. So we'll display the output. So we'll create some code here on the side. Let's make this a little smaller, move this over here a little bit so we have more room. Okay, we are displaying the output, right? So we'll say when I receive display output, I'm going to use the if and else block here. Okay, if using operator here, I will say if it's is there duplicate or no. So we have to check that. If is there duplicates, if it's yes, oops. Okay, if it's yes, then what we're going to do is we have to display it, right? But what we have to do is we have to get the item in the list again. So to get that, we'll do the same thing, right? Just how we did before, right? Okay, so we are going to reset this index since we're going to reuse the index. So better reset it, reset the index to 1. And we are going to reuse the word also, so we can join them together. Put it back put it together with comma. So we'll delete that 0, and we will say repeat until here. Let me move over a little bit, and then we will use this block here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through the temporary list where we find the duplicates. Okay, same thing, right? We have to do the index again. Is greater than the length of the list, and you have to choose the temporary list, right? That's where we're putting the duplicate numbers on. So I mean, you could have multiple items in the list, so we want to join them together with a comma. What we can do is we are going to use the if and else statement here. Put this under here. We are going to use this not operator again, and we are going to check the index actually. So, and then we'll put 1 here. So basically what we want to say is if it's not the index is equal to 1, then we want to put the comma and join them together. So basically if it's more than 1, let's say 6, and there's another one called 4, you will say 6 comma 4, right? So that you could display together. Okay. All right, so what we can do is we're gonna say set the word that we're using to join, right? Earlier we did that, so we'll say joining this, and then we need another join. We're gonna put a comma in between, so we'll need another join on here, and we'll put a comma here, and we can put a space after that if you like. What we can join is joining the word. So the first time you join the word, it will be blank. Second time it will have something else, it will have something else, and it will join this together and form this new word. So basically forming a string of numbers separated by commas, right? Okay, so we'll say get the item again. Oops. Get the item, so we'll do the index again. And where's the get it from the temporary list? So index is, let's say the first time I go to it will be 1. So whatever the duplicate will come here, it will have this pick up the index here. Okay. All right. So next, we'll set the word again. But we don't need this join here. What we only need is the item. Okay. So basically, if it's not the first, the index is not the first one, it will add them up together. If it's the first one, it will run this code. It will be just this first item. Okay. And we have to change the index by 1 again. So make sure you always do that. If not, it will go into a forever loop, right? So change the index by 1, and we want to put it after this else statement inside the repeat loop. Okay. And then what we can do is we're gonna say, oops, sorry. So say, put this here, and we are going to join. Use the join operator here again. We're using a lot of join and a lot of loops here, so I hope you guys really pick this up after you view this lesson. So say yes, there are one or more duplicates value in the list. Okay, in these two lists or something, we can say two lists. Okay, and then we'll put a colon here at the end saying what are the value that's duplicate. We'll put a space, and we'll put the word where we just joined together, right? So we'll put this, and we can increase this to maybe 5 seconds so the player can see it, right? And then we'll take a new one here. We don't need join for this, and we'll say no, there are no duplicates value between these two lists. Okay, values, maybe I put it, oops, sorry, that's good thing that there's an undo button. Okay, all right, so undo button, you can do Control Z, so that's undo. Okay, now let's save it, let's run it again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add one more number here. I'll say, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add one more number. Let's click on this sprite again. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add one more number, which is 43. So we'll make it more than one. So 12, 14, 6, 4, 11, 43. Okay, we'll say enter. You have 12, 14, 6, 4, 11, 43. Right, we have this. Then we'll enter the second list. So we have 13, 43, which is the same, right? So, and then 34, 6, 6 is also the same. So the final outcome is the when this sprite talks, it will display that 43 and 6 are the duplicates. So let's see if it works. Okay, so enter. So as you can see, we haven't actually called this method, so that's why it doesn't work. All right. So what do we need to do? We need to call to find duplicates, right? We did our code, but we did not call it. Okay, all right. So let's run it again. Or what we can do is we can just double click on this or run this method. So let's double click, let's see. So as you can see, 6 and 43, right? These are the two values. So make sure you join this in. So now let's test it one more time, right? Let's click on the girl. This is a sprite here. And now let's put in the list again. Let's say this time we'll add, I don't know, 202, 225 at the end. Right, so we have 225 at the end. And then we'll add this one here. And then let's say we want to put one more, number 11. Okay. So if we do that, we'll actually have 43, 6, and 11 as the duplicates, right? We have 3 duplicates this time. So you see 6, 11, 43, right? So you can see it in this two lists here. I mean, this has a little bit more. So this one has a little bit more, one more number. So let's validate, see if this is correct. So 6, right? 6, yes, we have 6. 11, yep, 11 is there, yep. And 43 is there. That's correct. So these are the 3 duplicate number from between the two lists. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's not really a actually a game, but it's teach you the concept of lists. So please like, share, subscribe to our channel, and you can just notify your friend if they want to learn about Scratch or programming, and just let them know about our channel. All right, thank you very much, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.